So I'm here working on the box gutters, and box gutters are gutters that are not attached onto the outside. They're built in. You can see here where the roof comes down and the metal, there's a piece of metal there, and it's covering what used to be crown molding. There's a gutter that's inside, both here around the porch and at the top. And the idea is that they're built in, so then they would line it with zinc covered metal. Today the zinc is no longer the same content, so copper is really the number one choice. Putting copper on this house all the way around and rebuilding the wrought would probably run somewhere between $30,000 and $35,000. So I don't have $35,000 that I want to put in this project here today. We will eventually do it. Right now, I'm just trying to stop the rot. I'm going to reach back into my past when I was used to work in the marine industry, and we're going to fiberglass the box gutters. This will be quick and easy. It'll be low cost. Now, I'm not going to go for a complete rebuild, but when we do this, basically going to line the gutters right now with what's there. I'm going to have to add a little bit of structure. You're going to see how I'm going to do that. Couple little tricks that I'm learning along the way, and follow along and see how we're going to do this. Okay, so for the fiberglass, I'm using 6-ounce fiberglass cloth. I got this from a manufacturer or a distributor, and he sells this in 50-inch wide by how many yards you want. I got 30 yards, which seems like a lot, but I've got to go around the whole house. Then Rochelle took and cut these in 1 foot lengths, so it's 50 inches. And while I'm on the ladder, that's a really good safe span. I'm not overreaching. She's made several rolls for me, so I'm gonna carry this one up in just a second as we're coming around that corner that we just showed you. Then after you mix everything, I throw the brush in there, leave it in. It's totally useless, but you can pull the whole thing back out, and now I can reuse it again. And then on the side, I measured what 6 or 12 ounces was, whatever you want to do. 8 ounces, doesn't matter. And then I can see how much to pour. So this is Bondo fiberglass resin. Resin's different than epoxy. Epoxy's stronger. It's triple the cost. I don't know that it's necessary. It's just a gutter. We're not building a boat. Okay, so there's 6 ounces. Everybody's going to have a different way to do this. This manufacturer, it comes with 2 tubes of catalyst, and it says 10 drops per ounce. I got 6 ounces, so now I just count 60. It's a good idea to buy a little bit of extra. Even though the manufacturer specifically spelled out one drop per 10 ounce, I still have probably a quarter of the resin, and I've measured it out as exact as I can. I've already used up their 2 tubes. Now, a lot of guys will just take and unscrew it and then just squirt. I'm trying to be a little more accurate with this. This is just a shim, what I had. Mix it. Now, when you're mixing this stuff, you can add extra catalyst. I'm not a believer in doing that unless there's a good reason. But temperature is going to have a big play on this. So today I'm in the mid 60s. This 6 ounces, it's going to give me about 15 minutes to work with it. If it was 80 degrees, I might get 10. So I don't want to mix too much, because then you're wasting it, because it's just going to kick off. It'll get really hot in the cup. I've had them melt the cup because they'll get so hot when I used epoxy resin. So we're just going to go at it like this. Make sure you wipe the sides. Try to get all those molecules to touching together. There we go. Okay, that one's ready to go. Here's my brush, and I'm going up on the ladder. this is a gutter downspout outlet. Today with the new gutters, this is what they have. That's for this somewhat of square downspout. So what I have is the downspout outlet is about 8 or 10 inches long because it goes through this box gutter and comes down through to the soffit. I finished fiberglassing, and so what we're going to do is I'm going to make one using modern materials to make this work for me. I don't know exactly the size of the sheet metal that I'm going to use up there. We'll do that later on, but for instructional purposes, basically I'm going to put this on here, mark around, and then I'm going to cut a piece of downspout, put that in there. So, downspout comes with one end already crimped. I've already cut one off, so now there's no crimped edge. So I want my new downspout outlet to be a little bit longer. Easy to cut through. There's a scrap down there. Okay, now these are 5-blade crimpers. And what this does is it gives me that factory crimped edge. So here where I've cut the two together, you can see that would be very difficult to fit in. Well, here where I've crimped it, it's a little bit smaller now. And then that's how they fit together. So if you have a downspout that needs to be extended or added, these come in 10-foot sections. So if you have 12 feet, or if you just need 3 feet, you can cut a piece off and then crimp the end. Installing this together. One is like a typical gutter screw. They come with colors, white or brown. And I'm going to pre-drill and then screw that in. But the head on these, they're pretty big. Keep in mind, I may or may not have a hole that's large enough through my box gutter to allow that to happen. So in that case, I'm going to use pan head screws. On the inside, you've got these large screws, so I'm gonna cut those off, either with some wire snips or a multi-tool. So I'm just going to use some side snips. Maybe I won't.
Just trying to remove any excess bump that might catch a leaf. It's pretty smooth. And there's that downspout outlet. You can see I fiberglass right over top of it, and then using the multi-tool, I'm gonna trim that up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna come over on this side, and here's where I put the sheet metal. There was a huge hole here, and I covered up the hole, kind of give it the fiberglass some support. Here's the corner. I put in a new downspout outlet and fiberglass set in, just one layer right now. And then I came in here and fiberglassed all the rest of the box gutter. There's a few pinholes, and so I'll put another coat on tomorrow.
And this will buy me about 5 to 10 years. Now, I wouldn't want to consider this as a permanent solution. It could be. That's not really my intent. My intent is just to buy me some time. It's going to let me solve the problem, stop the water, stop the damage, and then let me move on to other parts of the project. And then when I'm ready, then we're going to go ahead and take off all of this metal. The metal's half the problem. We're going to take off all this metal, and then we're going to rebuild it, and we'll probably rebuild it with copper, the proper way, which is the whole point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to do everything the right way. All right, so I've cleared the gutter, but now I've got a sidewalk that's higher than my downspout drain. So I'm following it down, and it's going right into my foundation. It's draining right in there. So solved one problem.